Hi, it's Jerry with iloveRVlife. If you're traveling in any type of an RV, I strongly recommend that you have a dash cam, and especially for insurance purposes. And today we're going to be evaluating the VIOFO A119. We're going to put this through the paces. Hi, it's Jerry. For those of us who travel in RVs, large or small, we all have a challenge. It doesn't matter if we're a small truck pulling a small lightweight camper, or we're like Joan and I with the big dually-ton truck and the big long fifth wheel, or those who travel in the big Class A's. We all have the same challenge, and that is maintaining that gap in congested traffic. We have that big gap in front of us between the front of our bumper and the back of the vehicle that we're traveling behind. 5 miles an hour, in traffic, or if we're doing 55 miles an hour around some big loop of a city, we all still have that big challenge of maintaining a good quality gap so that we can stop in time. It's very, very important. But unfortunately, there are those who travel around us that just either don't understand it or don't care, and we have that gap and we're trying to maintain a safe space, and they will pull over and cut us off and fill that gap up quickly. And hopefully, for none of us who are watching this video, the unfortunate happens, and because they pulled in front of us and slammed on brakes, we couldn't stop in time, and the front of ours hits the back of theirs, and we never want that to happen. But here's the challenge. If we don't have some way to be able to document that, then it's our word against their word. Their word is going to be they were following too closely. Our word is they cut us off. And what's going to end up happening, the police will go, you take care of your business, you take care of your business, and then we end up having to file a claim that there's either no fault or we are at fault, even in a worse case, and now our insurance company is having to pay for both of those instances. I don't want that to happen. I want to be able to, number one, be safe as much as possible, and number two, I want to protect what we have. So since day one, when we first started traveling, we've always had a dash cam. Matter of fact, even before that, I had a dash cam when I was traveling on the road corporately, just because of those specific instances. I've never had to use it, thank goodness, but it's there, just like insurance, if we ever need it. As a matter of fact, if you ever look in any of our other videos, I often refer to our dash cam as our insurance camera, just in case. Now, the camera that we currently use has worked for us and has served us well, but it has 0 features, and we wanted an upgrade. So we got contacted by VIOFO. This is the A119 Mini, and we wanted to be able to use a smaller, feature-rich dash cam for a couple reasons. Number one, window real estate. We didn't want to take up a whole lot of space, but yet we still wanted all the features that we could get in our dash cam in the event we ever needed it. And some of those features being, and they're all included in this A119. Number one, being able to record date and time. That's pretty common with most, even your least expensive cameras that are out there have that feature. But this one also has GPS, so we can be able to record at the bottom of the screen where we're at in the case that we needed to be able to submit this in an insurance claim or a police report. There's the exact location, longitude and latitude where we're at, so they know where the event occurred. Second to that, with our current camera, the only way to be able to get video off of it is to be able to pull the chip out, put it on a laptop, and go through all those steps to be able to get that video. We wanted to be able to remedy that, and the good thing about the A119 is it has Wi-Fi connectivity and an app that you place on your phone, and I'll be showing you these features. So now, if need be, I can quickly connect to that device, I can pull the video down of the event that occurred, and then I can share that with the police for a police report, and equally important, I can upload that to our insurance company to be able to show them exactly what happened and know that we were not at fault. So that's very, very important as well. The other thing is very important too when you start looking at these features are how the video is recorded, and I refer to it as first in, first out. So let's think about our memory chip of being, top to bottom. The video starts recording at the top, and then it gets down to the bottom of the capacity of that chip, and then it loops around and starts recording over the oldest video, going down to the bottom again, and that constantly goes on. And if you've got a big chip, you can cover a lot of travel. But the issue being is, if you were to bump somebody, you want to be able to have the video that either A, the device is able to realize that it has something. In the A119, they refer to it as G-Shock. When it has that bump, it will automatically save that video. Or you want to have the capability to be able to capture that video and save it without it getting written over. And the nice thing about the 119 is there's several different ways to be able to do that. You can give it a verbal command, you can press a button, or you can use an auxiliary button outside of the camera to be able to do that as well. So you've got multiple ways to be able to save that video just in case you need it for some type of a claim or explanation of what actually occurred while you were traveling down the road. So this is a very, very feature-rich system. So when VIOFO contacted us, they asked us, would you like to be able to look at this? Again, we've been looking for something small that didn't take up a lot of window real estate, and this seems to be the device that we've been looking for, and I think this is going to serve us well. The other good thing is at VIOFO, when you buy this off of Amazon, you've got a lot of different ways to be able to buy this product. You can just buy it just as the mini camera itself, or they have a lot of extra features. And VIOFO sent us those extra features, and let me show you those before we go install this in the F350. Again, I really like the form factor of this camera. It's got a lot of weight to it as well. You can see, here's my hand, you can see the size of this camera. It also has a GPS module. Now what we're going to be doing, we're going to follow the directions that they've suggested. This is that 3M very sticky tape, and we're going to peel that off and stick that to the windshield like so, like that. We'll have a slight view of it, but I'm not as worried about the view as much as just knowing that it's on and that it's recording. It has several buttons that are on the front of it. One of the ones that I like the most is this button right here. So while we're traveling, I can tap that button if I need to save it immediately, or this also has voice commands that we'll be trying out that we can tell it to save the video as well. So I think that's going to be just an excellent package for what we're looking at. It's got, you'll notice here, it has an articulating camera that we can move up and down. That's a physical thing that we have to do. And by moving that up or down, we can adjust the height to meet our specific needs of looking over the hood. The other thing I like about this too, and I'm a big fan of Sony products. As a matter of fact, I'm recording this video on a Sony camera. I like Sony optics a lot. Even in my business, all my business cameras, my very expensive professional cameras, I use Sony cameras. So that was another added benefit when I saw this device, that they're using Sony optics. I think they're some of the best that's out there in the market. So again, look at that form factor. That is a great form factor when you look at that. Very, very small package, and that'll be mounting right up at the top of our dash. The wiring is in the back, and I think the wiring is something else that's going to be very important. It comes in this nice box. Pulling out the pieces and parts of this, we've got an extra 3M pad. If you ever want to move it to another vehicle, you have another pad that you can do that as well. It comes with a USB-C cable. That's very, very important. I refer to these, you can actually find these, as a spudger. This is the first time I've seen this happen with a dash cam. These spudgers, these plastic devices, is so you can kind of pull down the wiring so that you can kind of fit the wiring inside of your molding of your vehicle, and they provide you with a nice device to do that as well. And then equally, aside from this USB-C cable that you can use to download and upgrade the camera, they also provide you with your typical long cable with the cigarette lighter adapter that you can place inside of your vehicle, so that it's just literally stick it on the window and you can use it immediately. So you can see here it's a lot of cable that you can use, and then one of these cigarette lighter adapters as well. We will not be using that. One of the other things that you can buy up to, if you want to be able to use it, is the hardwire kit. With our current dash cam, we have one of these hardwire kits. Here's what I like about it. You can wire this into your fuse box that you have in your vehicle. That fuse turns on when you crank your vehicle and it turns on, the nice thing about that, your camera will go in a sleep mode unless it has power going into its connection. So anytime you crank your vehicle, it will boot up and it's ready to go, and you don't have to worry about turning it on or turning it off or the batteries discharging. This has the small USB-C connector that's on it, but these dash cam, I actually have a video on this where I used it with the other vehicle. They're very, very simple to install. Yeah, you do have to pull open the fuse box, and you do have to do what I call a cheat, is the best way to be able to do it. Don't go in there and cut all your wiring. You don't have to do that. You'll see this has plenty of wiring to be able to route it wherever you need to go, and then again, using this little spudger, you can kind of form fit it into the molding, you know, of your header going up to your vehicle, so you can be able to get to it. It has your converter here for your 12 volts to convert it into the power that's needed, and plenty of wiring. And what I'll show you when I go to wire this into the truck, we use what we call a cheater. I don't know what the real name of them are, but I'm not going to cut into the wiring of my vehicle whatsoever. I'm just going to find a fuse that will turn off and on when I am turning the vehicle on and turning it off. The reason I want to be able to have that is that when the camera senses voltage, it will turn on automatically. When the voltage is turned off, the camera will go back to sleep. And then this cheater that I'll be using, I'll pull out that fuse, I can plug in that cheater, wire this into it, and it will go as well. Now, the other thing is, if you can't find that and you're handy enough to be able to go into the wiring of your vehicle, which I don't want to do, this also has a yellow ignition lead, so you can connect this up to the ignition wire, and when it sees that power come on, it will do the exact same thing, turn off, turn on, turn off, turn off. But I don't want to be able to do that. I think it's just simpler just to be able to find a fuse, again, that will turn off and on with the ignition. The other thing that they provided us with, they recommend a certain type of chip to be able to go into it. You're going to require a high-speed chip because this is recording in 4K, you know, so the video on this is going to be exceptional. And you can also acquire their chip. I recommend you doing that. That way, if you're using something that you found aftermarket and then you have problems, if you buy their chip or buy it with the package, you have that as well. So they provide us with that chip as well. The other thing too, and this has been a problem that we've had with our current dash cam, is that if we're in odd light, odd sunlight, if you've done any recording video with any type of a camera, you probably have run into an issue to where the video gets some artifacts, almost like a haze or a rainbowing, and the way that you fix that, and I use this on all my cameras, I use a UV filter. And the nice thing about this, they have a UV filter. So it's a very simple thing. I'll show you, we'll put that on the camera as well, and we'll place that little UV filter. It's a very, very small device, and we'll put that on as well. The next thing that I wanted, and I mentioned this as well, is the ability to be able to quickly capture video of a specific event that may occur. This camera has verbal commands that I can speak to it and tell it to record. I can hit this button that's located here, by reaching up and taking my eyes off the road and hitting that button. I don't want to do that either. And then the other thing they provide us with is a little Bluetooth connecting button that you see here. I thought this was very, very novel. I didn't expect this, to be truthful with you. I saw it as an option. Again, it has a little bit of sticky pad. It's very, very simple to be able to pair this with a device. I'm going to put this where I can just literally reach up with my thumb and you click the button and it will save the video. So I thought that was novel. I'm glad to be able to receive that. I didn't expect it. All right, so we have all these pieces and parts. I don't think this is long to hook up and make it work. It's going to take me just a little bit longer to set this up because I am going to go with the hardware kit. I really want to be able to use that. But if you didn't want to do that, then you can definitely just use the plug-in kit and you can get, be going, within minutes. Stick it up there, plug into the cigarette lighter adapter that you have, and then off down the road you can go. So let's go out here and get this all hooked up and get it ready to go. And then we'll start doing some testing. And I'm going to do daylight testing and I'm going to do some evening testing. So I think, you know, being able to see at night, we don't travel that much at night, but just in case we do, I want to be able to have that video that's crisp and clear and very visible as well. Okay, let's go install it in the F350 and we'll get going. Before we get started, we've got to do a few little minor housekeeping things with the device. We've got the little small chip here. This was provided as well. This is a 64 gigabit chip, and that inserts into the side of the camera, and it has a label that is front and back, if you can make that out. And the label goes toward the back, and it just snaps in with a fingernail. So we've got that taken care of. I've already pulled. There's a film that you have to remember to peel off the camera that is black, and if you don't peel that off, you're going to turn it on and go, my camera don't work. And then there's a film on the front here, protective film. I've pulled all those off as well. Now, the other thing that I mentioned was this UV filter. So let's install the UV filter. And just like the other lenses, this UV filter has a film front and back, so you want to be able to pull that film off. If you don't, it's going to be a blurry picture. And it's easy to install. It's got like a catch here on the bottom. You see a slight indentation, and it just snaps in just like so. Very easy, no difficulty whatsoever. And again, you don't have to have this UV filter, but I think it's very, very important if you want to eliminate those visual artifacts. And the things that you want to be able to capture are things like vehicle tags, and you don't want any obstructions like the sun bouncing off your hood or some strange reflection coming off your windshield, and this UV filter will help eliminate that. Okay, that's all the necessary stuff that I'm going to have to use. So the only thing that's left for me to do is install the little button on the dash and pair it. And then what's going to take me a little extra time is just doing the nice hardware install so I don't have wires hanging everywhere. And I just really want that convenience. Turn it on, turn it off from the ignition. I think it's going to be simple to do. Okay, let's head outside. I'm out here getting ready to install the camera. So what I've decided to do, I'm going to mount it over here on the passenger side. Again, I don't have to be able to look at the screen. I'm more interested in saving the video. And from a real estate perspective, I just don't want anything obstructing my view, even though this is a very, very small package. I mean, just kind of put it up here alongside of the rear view mirror, none whatsoever. So I'm going to put it over here on Joan's side, and I want to mount it up as high as I can. Now, if you notice on these Super Duties, we have this mesh-looking stuff here. You don't want to mount this 3M on top of that. And also, if you can notice here, this is also the GPS module, so I want to be able to have a good, clear field of view. I don't think I want it down this low. I'm going to mount it up here high, and it's not going to obstruct this coming down whatsoever, so it'll be fine. And I'll put it here, and then again, you know, I've got several ways that I can be able to save the video, and it's going to kind of go flat like so. Now, before I get started, I'm going to take just some generic alcohol. This is isopropanol alcohol. This is a 70% solution. And I'm going to clean this area here with this alcohol. That's very important to do if you want this 3M to stick. And then whatever you do, don't use something like a Kleenex that has aloe or anything like that on it. I just use a piece of just generic toilet paper that I took out of the camper. So we're going to go ahead and clean this spot up here and then stick it on. Stuck it up there. Now, there's a lot of discussions about this 3M stuff if you've ever used it. Some people have good success with it and others report something different. But I do notice that the label does say 3M, so it looks like the original, not a knockoff. But I usually hold this on for a good solid minute. It looks crooked, it's not, it's just the angle of the camera. I usually hold it up there for about a minute, putting just light pressure on it. The other thing that I've had good success with in the past is minimizing your bumps for at least 24 hours. This 3M has it seems like it has a setup time to it. And that setup time, if you can put it in a cool spot. I know if I'm recording this in the summer, I'm gonna have to pull it in the garage for it to have a cool spot, but I'll be doing that, and then giving it overnight to kind of sets up. Anyway, there's a lot of debate about that. Some people say, nah, that's not the way it works, just stick it on there and go. But it seems like when I've done it this way, it works best. Okay, that seems to be on there really well. Now, it's hot summer day. I'm gonna have to get this off this thing parked in the shade here pretty soon, but let's go ahead and get her wired up, and then we'll start some testing with it. Here's my fuse panel that I'm using here, and I've tested these fuses to find out what works with the ignition on and the ignition off. And I was mentioning one of these, I call them cheaters. You can see it here, this one little cheater plugs. So one will be the fused outlet, and then the other one will be the fuse going to this device here. So we're going to get that plugged in. We'll test it before we button everything up and start running our wires. Make sure everything's working well. I see the little red power light has come on. It's booting up, and looky there.
Recording started.
How about that? All right. So I haven't done any of the settings yet. You know, it's not reading the right time, right date, any of those types of things. GPS is not turned on. It is running, it looks like it's preset to run 4K. So it's recording right now. All right. So let's clean up the wiring down here, and then we'll take it for a daytime test ride and then a nighttime test ride. So this looks good, and it's also the screen's blanking out as well. So I've got a few little setting things I got to do yet. I did want to show you the VIOFO Dashcam app. It's pretty powerful. I've opened up the app here. Let's connect the camera quickly, and I'll just show you what it looks like. The first thing that you're going to see is once you set it up Wi-Fi, it takes just a minute. You just click it, set up the Wi-Fi for this specific camera, put in the passcode, and it'll show you what the passcode is on the screen, and then you're up and going. So this is actually the front view that we have now after the install. But a couple things that I wanted to be able to show you. Down here in the bottom left-hand side, you can pull up. I'm going to have to stop recording first. And then you can pull up, and it's going to start beeping at me and tell me to start. You can see the files where I was playing earlier today of the different files that exist here where I've been saving files. And then you notice across the top, all files, lock files. If you're doing the parking or the photo files, like where you've taken pictures, that shows you some of the pictures that I've taken. I'm not using the parking item right now. Here's a lock file, and you can just tap it and you know, and play it back and see what's actually in that file. Also, if you'll notice in the top right hand side of the screen, I can download it. I can also delete it, and that's what's very important as well. So you know, this is where I can actually text it to an insurance agent or a police officer or something like that, in case I was in some type of an accident. And then you can go and see your, I'm going to stop it again here. I got to touch the recording button and stop recording, and the red light goes off, and then you can see all the different settings. That makes it much easier than looking at that small screen. Even though I set it up with a small screen, you can see all the different things that I have here. So it's a very robust app. It works really, really well. And then just to start recording again, it's chirping at me, telling me I'm not recording. And it tells me I'm recording again. So I really like this app. This is going to be really, really, really nice. We're starting our trip going down the interstate. I just wanted to show you some shots here. Now you'll see some halo effect that's occurring here. That is my bad. One of the things that I did before we left is I added some anti-fog to the windshield. It's causing this rainbow effect. I'm going to wipe it off when we get to the campground and see if we can't fix this. But you can just see the clarity of what's going on here on the interstate. Here it is. I've cleaned up the windshield. You can actually see it now, and you can actually get the car tag numbers, which is very important. As you say you're at an intersection or somebody cuts you off, you'll have that car tag number to be able to use for your insurance or police. I did want to show you some night shots here, what intersections look like and how clear these intersections are at night. So there's no added light other than my headlights and what you can see with street lights. And I try not to zoom in on the tag numbers here, but you can actually see that if you needed to, you could pull those tag numbers up for your nighttime shots as well. We have been using the VIOFO A119 Mini 2 dash cam for a little over a month now. I could not be happier with the results. It's been absolutely fantastic. Think about this. If in the simplest way, if you need a dash cam and you don't want to go through a hardwire installation, it's just pull the sticker off the back, stick it to the windshield, use the supplied cigarette lighter adapter, and in 5 minutes you've got that protection that you need. I think that's just an absolute great kit. The form factor is perfect. It just works great, but I like acquiring the full kit for a couple reasons. One, I really, really like the hardware installation, that the simplicity of that. You just find you a fuse that's fully powered, hide your wires. It took me about 45 minutes maybe to be able to do everything and get it all buttoned up. It wasn't bad, but I've done this before, so if you've never done it before, give yourself a learning curve, maybe add another hour to it. But now that it's done, turn the truck on, it automatically cuts on. It actually tells you recording, and that's really, really nice. And then from there, I turn the truck off, it turns itself off. So the simplicity of that. The filter that you put on the front is really, really nice too, and then the recording button. Now let me share something here that I mentioned in the video. You'll notice when we first started off, before we had started our travels as we're going down the interstate, before I left, I put this anti-fog on the inside of the window, and I didn't realize that it's like a film. And although you don't see it to the naked eye, the camera up close picks up almost a rainbow effect. That is a bad for me. That's not a result of the camera. I messed up. I wiped that off once I realized what was going on. And then you'll see in the videos as we go forward, it just clears the bail and we didn't have any more of those artifacts. So that was my mistake, not a mistake of the camera. The camera works fantastic. I really, really like the app. If I need one of the videos, you just press the button, or you just tell it to stop, save the video, or you can just hit the little button. 3 different ways to be able to do that. Or if you were in an accident, and we actually weren't in an accident, but we got to test it. We were going down the interstate where they were doing some construction and hit this crazy bump, one of these shocking bumps, and all of a sudden it said, recording saved. So it actually thought that we had possibly bumped into something. So I know that that works. But then you have that save video that won't get overwritten. You can pull it down to your phone, and then you can email it to somebody, text it to somebody based on what your needs are, your insurance agent or, a police officer, something like that. So the camera is absolutely fantastic. And the price, the value of this thing is great as well. But we can help you out a little bit for a very short period of time. If you look down into the description, I'm going to have a link where you can purchase this off of Amazon. And then there's a code that you can use that will save you 5%. So it'll save you a few dollars if you can buy it within the next couple weeks from the date of this video. This is a short-term code, so you need to be able to utilize that very, very quick. Well, I'd like to thank VIOFO for providing this camera for our evaluation. We like doing these things, finding something that is very useful for your RV travel, as well as finding those that are very high quality and are cost effective as well, as we did with this Mini Cam 2. Very, very good device, and I'm really pleased to have it and see its excellent performance as we went forward. If you like these types of things, we judge what we do based on the thumbs up. So give me a thumbs up if you like it. And if you want to see more types of things of what you can use in your RV travel, we'll continue to try to find those devices that will be helpful for you to be able to use. And please, if you haven't subscribed to our videos, please do so. Do that, click the little bell. It'll notify you when we have the next video up and going. Thank you so much for watching today. I love doing these product reviews, but I really, really, I love RV life.